life. So tell us about your book, because I want people to be able to find it and to benefit from your glow process.
So thank you. So I start the book off talking about what I call the 5 to thrive, which are the 5 things in life that you really want to incorporate within your life. Then I move that into what I call the mind fields. So the mind field is like a minefield, right? We walking along, life is grand. You know that story. You came from a party. Little did you know you were going to a party to a near-death experience, right? So it's the same thing. You're living life, and all of a sudden you're walking and something in front of you blows up. It's called a minefield. And so at that point, you need to decide and make the right decision for you and the people around you. And if you make whatever decision you make, it's the right one, and right will follow. That's my philosophy. So at that point, when you make the decision, now I made the decision to go with heart versus hurt. So I'll tell you the difference. Hurt is when we curl up in a corner and we go into that woe is me. Now, obviously, we have to go through that process of grieving, no matter what that grieving process is, whether it's someone's loss of their dignity, their purity. It could be anything. It could be a loss of a career. We all have different things that we lose in life. And if we're hurt, we can go into the negative. We can go into the anger. And as I said, in the beginning, you do go through that process of anger and, sadness and pity. And then you move through that cycle at a healthy pace. But for those people who get stuck and they stay angry and they stay in that corner and they're rocking themselves into fetal position for the rest of their life, that choice is not going to serve them or the people around them. So I chose heart. Heart is when I can take what I've learned, and I chose to believe that Saria came to deliver my son because she was his twin, and she became the conduit between me and Source. So now Saria works with me. She works with her brother, and she works with many people around me. And there are times where she even works with the women that come to me who want to bring children into this world, or they have children in their world that need help, or they might have childhood wounds. So I feel like I look at Saria as this delivery, this angel, and that's what it was, a gift. Of course, we see our gifts with tragedy as, some people would say, oh, that's an interesting way to think of it, but it makes me feel good. And if I feel good about it, Yvonne,
yes,
that's really all that counts, because at the end of the day, we need to figure out how could we justify what just happened. That's it. Wow. How can I justify what just happened? And for me, that makes me feel good.
I love this, Gina. Let me go over it, because you just gave a pack, like mini masterclass in this. I mean, I was even quiet. I made a lot of notes, but number one, I love the relationship you have created with your daughter, even though she's not physically present. I have that relationship with my mother. I actually say to everyone that I healed my relationship with my mother I have a better relationship. I healed the relationship with my mother, even though she doesn't have a physical form anymore. She's still more alive than ever. And I love that you created a field for her to continue to exist and for you to continue to be the mother of 2 children. Because one of my teachers of Ho'oponopono one time said to me, and I now share in all the work that I do of rebirthing and systemic healing and constellations, I pass on this, what is called healing sentences to others. That is, only bodies die, but spirit remains. Every time I share this with people from a perspective of heart, and I'm going to talk to you about that because you just named it, it's healing. That the soul remembers that we're not only the body. The wisdom of the heart remembers that we're here for more than just suffering. And I love, Gina, of all what you share, I love every single aspect, but that you said, I gotta feel good.
Mm-hmm.
What purpose will it have for you to suffer consistently, and what will it deliver to the world?
Yeah.
Nothing, right? More of the things that we don't want.
Right.
So again, I want everybody that is here listening to this podcast to understand the power of decision. I mean, the power of decision is really life-changing. And the ability that she had to decide in a very specific way. So she chose, Gina, you chose to go with heart versus hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just right there, we could speak like this for hours.
It's interesting because the other thing that came to me when this all came, when it just hit me, I realized something. The last thing I would ever want is for my son to be sitting across the table of say he's on a date and he's in love with somebody and he looks down and he says, I lost my mother the day my sister died. I wasn't, and to him,
Wow.
he feels I wasn't worth her sticking around mentally. That to me, like when I thought that, like it's like I got this premonition of what would have been if I would have closed the door on this other child mourning the other one. Because you said to me, I remember a few years back, you said to me, you sit between the two worlds, the subconscious and the conscious.
Yes.
And that's why it's hard when you have children in two different places. You feel the need to be in both places, and sometimes one has to suffer. Now, Saria is not going to suffer because Saria is in bliss. Darius is going to suffer. He's going to feel I wasn't good enough for her to be there for me, and that was a non-negotiable for me.
There, exactly. I want to talk about this because most of my work, again, on rebirthing and systemic work, this is so important, Gina. And I've told you many times that we have spoken, you have naturally what I had to study. You have the natural thing, what I studied with many teachers. This is what you just said. I want everybody to understand that when we give ourselves into suffering, it's a selfish act because we abandon the people that are in the present moment with us. We abandon the ability to be loving mothers to others. A lot of people that experience loss of a child or of a loved ones, they go with them mentally, as you said, and the ones that suffer and they wonder and they experience the lack from the mother love. There's a process called, they call it unmothering. They receive the unmothering, and then when they grow up as adults, they feel less, they feel unworthy, they have challenges even making money because they were not worthy to receive the greatest love of all, which is the love of a mother for a child. If the mother is absent, the child won't be able to be present for himself. And I'm so grateful that you just named this, because with so many tragedies happening in the world, this is, I believe, a glow invitation for everyone to focus on the present moment, to focus on moving forward. Yes, you may have times of sadness. Yes, you may miss. Yes, but don't miss what is right here in front of you because of thinking of what could it be, or I wish it was. It's over.
Yeah.
So
it's because that's just someone's story, right?
Yes.
That's someone's story. It's not even sometimes your story.
So true. That is so, so true. So Gina, wow. Tell me something. I know maybe people need to buy the book for this, because really this is a book that, imagine the energy, everyone, of the book, knowing a little bit more of the story of Gina, knowing how powerful her decision to glow is and to help others glow too. You not only are reading a book, you are experiencing the transmission of glow. So you speak in the book about the 5 to thrive. Would you share with us at least 2 of them? I don't want to give them all, because if not, it's like, why will I buy the book? No, I want people to get this portal of glow. It's a book that is a portal of glow. So tell us 2 of the 5 to thrive that you recommend for people.
So the one that we have already talked about is the aligning the non-negotiables, right? The non-negotiables are, what are the things in life that you really cannot do without, right? And that could be anything from eating to thinking to even work, right? You must align these in order to make a clean decision on how to move forward. So that would be one. And the second is just to be kind and gentle and to be able to feed yourself with emotion, to be able to take the time to have self-love, to be able to stop looking around you at what everyone else needs and putting the oxygen mask on first. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to, as a mother, this is what everyone depends on you. So you must put the oxygen mask on first, make sure that you're aligned, and then you move forward. And that's where I fall into the GLOW program, which is obstruction. Obstruction in and around our thoughts, what is inside the body, how we move forward, so how we eat, and what the residues that remain inside the body, what that does to the body, how we think, that residue that sticks and causes anger, frustration, and sometimes annoyance to others, right? The mindset, because we've got mindfulness and mindset, then we've got the mindset, right?
Difference. Can you tell us very quickly, as I didn't want to interrupt you, but the difference, this is very important. Mindset and mind, and
mindfulness.
Yes.
Yeah, mindfulness. So mindset is how I think the world is, right? And where it comes from, right? And you and I have talked a lot about Mark Wallen's work, right? It didn't start with you. So it's like what I'm dealing with right now might not be everything. It's not what it seems, because it could be repercussions of things that have happened in the past. And then the mindfulness is taking that and being mindful of our actions when something does happen, and the practices we need to have in order for us to remain on the even keel. Now, we're human and we are going to have bad days, and that's okay. But when, like I said, when we go into our fetal position and we're rocking for a week in the corner, we need to get that moving and go back to that heart. What can I do for others? One of the things that my husband did when Saria passed was he picked up his camera and he started to make other people feel. Now, my husband's a banker, but he took a camera and he started doing photo shoots to make other people feel beautiful. He wanted others to feel the beauty inside of them, and he's got an eye. So he became this person that people would ask, can you two take my picture? And he was doing it. He was just doing it to have others feel good. And this was the touch of an angel who came here and gave us both this gift to help others and make them, give them that. It's almost like that superhero that gives that little, the kryptonite that, causes, what was it, Superman, that he can't have I think it was, he couldn't be near kryptonite, right? And it was like that potion that helped others. So yeah, it's just helping others, and that glow is about removing the obstruction in and around. So what do we do in our body that's obstruction? What we eat, what sticks, what causes issues, how we move our body, we're tight, our back, our movement, our posture, our alignment, and then of course the mind, right? What sticks, what holds us back, what causes us to have these stories. Yeah. These stories.
But it's true, all of these areas are so important. Some people think it's only the food or only the mindset, or they think of hacks and everything, but it's a holistic process, is wholeness, as you say, the glow. And, I invite people to follow Gina on Instagram, on Facebook. You will see her. It's glow. She is the embodiment of